Hey everybody, welcome back to the Flat Thunder channel. My name's Andy, and if you didn't know already, this is the old channel icon truck, the flatbed, aka Flat Thunder. Had to move her out of the way because we got old Margret sitting just in front of her, and we're going to try to get Margret moving again today. We need to work those brakes loose. We got big plans for Margret. We're going to do just a little bit of work on her today, but mostly try to work those brakes loose and get her a little bit more mobile than she was before. Stick with us. I'll show you what we're going to get into and some future plans for good old Margret. We got some stuff over here on the side I'm going to show you a little bit later on. We got old Margret up here. I'm going to try to reveal a little bit more of the plan of what's going to happen with this old girl, or at least what we're going to try to do. Here we have the sliding fifth wheel hitch that we picked up and saved from the scrap hopper. It's a Joist or Joust brand. We obviously still have the hoist mechanism on the bed. We need to get that out of there. And there she is. I haven't started her since the last time we moved it around the lot and tried to get it in and out of the garage. Let's get the battery hooked up and see if we can't get her to move back and forth and work on those brakes. And one thing that is fantastic about old trucks is the varmint. Look at that little mouse. Isn't he so cute? I mean, the good news is he's dead, but the bad news are like, where are all of his friends? Ugh. He's still kind of fresh. Ew. I hate mice. Go away, mice. Go away. No mice. Alright, the battery's not short now. That's a good sign. We got the choke on, fast idle. Again, I haven't started this since the last time we moved it in the garage, which has been quite a while. Give her... Whoa. That was almost bad. Uh-oh. Our clutch pedal went down and stayed down. Yeah, apparently the master cylinder is empty, so I don't know where we got a leak. Maybe at the slave cylinder itself. I don't know. Something's leaking because she's empty. And now she's overflowing. Seems about right. The things that most people won't tell you, the joys of old trucks and old stuff, it always needs work. I didn't plan on working on that clutch today, and to be honest with you, I have no idea where it's leaking. It wasn't wet in here. Back at the actual slave cylinder itself, it didn't look like it was damp at all, so I don't know where that brake fluid was gone, but she was definitely empty. Maybe it's just a really slow leak underneath somewhere. I think we got the clutch back. Let's give it a go. Oh, and I managed to dump brake fluid on my arm in the process. That refilling is kind of tricky. Yeah. Having just one heck of a good time with this old girl, but I just remembered the oil pressure gauge line is leaking. We need to pinch that off before we pump all the oil out of the engine. And fixed. We obviously have to fix that in the future, but right now we're way far away from that. We're just trying to break the brakes. We're just trying to work the brakes loose, as I mentioned earlier. I'm gonna fire her up. We'll see if she's still pissing oil out everywhere. All right, let's get her out on the pavement in the empty parking lot over there. See if we can't work these brakes loose a little bit better. Also want to check out the high-low range. I played with the selector knob a little bit there in the driveway, and I actually think it's working. So we'll go test that over there. I'm gonna set you guys up back here. You can be my eyes. You can tell me if the selector is moving. Well, I lied. You can't see it. You can't see it, but look at the drive shaft. I'll put it in the same gear. I'll take off. I'll change the rear end selector, and you'll be able to tell, since it's in the same transmission gear, if the drive shaft speed changes. Granny gear. So right now we're about 2,000 RPMs. Switch to diff. 2,000 RPMs. I feel like we're going faster. I think it's working. That's the most fun you can have on a gallon of gas any day of the week. That's the most old Margaret has moved under her own power, at least when I've owned her. You saw, if you watched the previous videos, the first go around where I got her out of the driveway, and that was the most until tonight. That's when we discovered the brakes were sticky. I think we got the brakes working a whole lot better, where they're actually releasing instead of hanging after you apply the brakes. And also, on a higher note, I think the 2-speed rear end is working. I think. I didn't really have a speedometer to tell because the speedo doesn't work, but just based on RPMs and feel, it feels like when you pull that knob up on the shifter, she's in a higher range and she's just ready to go. Back to the real reason of this video. In this video, I wanted to reveal to you, we recently picked up something for good old Margaret here that's going to affect the build of her and change everything that we do to her. So I'm going to get you off there, show you some old screen grabs. I didn't record the process of obtaining the item, but I do have some screen grabs. It's pretty sketchy. You're going to stay tuned and watch that. Here it is. Check it out. We have an aluminum headache rack for good old Margaret. We got two different styles here. These are both laying in the mud in the scrap pile. We're able to rescue them from that. They need a little bit of love, but I think we're going to be able to fit one on old Margaret. Before we can do that, we got to get that old hoist mechanism out of the way and then test fit these on there to see which one we like the best, see if we have to modify it. But I'm pretty excited about that. Those are all aluminum units. One of the upcoming things we're going to have to do directly, sounds hollow, is get this old gas tank off of here. It's in the way for what we're planning to do, and also I have no idea what's inside there. I mean, it could be completely rusted up, might be usable with a little bit of cleaning. I don't know. We got to get this cap off of here. I haven't opened this nasty thing, which I assume is nasty, since we've owned this truck. That's on there. So open this up, see what's lying inside there, what kind of nasty jelly's in there, and then get it off of the frame. Get this hoist mechanism off of here, and also the fifth wheel plate. Oh yeah, check it out, guys. If you don't know what this is a knuckle boom crane. We're gonna put a crane on old Margaret. This is gonna go right behind the cab. It has outriggers that come out, and it also has its own self-contained engine. So we don't have to worry about that old hydraulic pump and PTO on the transmission. We can use that as a wet line for another function and have this bad boy be self-contained with its own engine. This is awesome. Let me take you off there, give you a quick walk around, and show you the loading chart for this crane. Super excited about this. I mean, this came up at the right moment. This thing was sitting on the scrap pile, very close to those old cab protectors, and you know, I made an offer, and here we are. We're gonna have a crane, baby. That's awesome. Yeah. So this is a Powfinger branded crane. It's a PK 12,000. I believe it's a 2002 vintage crane. So I'll take you down and show you the controls here. So here's all the functions for the crane itself. A little oily, need some new stickers. So it did have a rotary actuator on the end, or a hydraulic rotator, and then a clamping function because it had a gripper. I don't have the gripper, but it does have the features or functionalities on this control pack for it. These are all manual valves. This valve bank back here is for your outrigger legs. They extend out and then obviously go down, basically stabilizers. And then here's the loading chart. I don't know if you can see with the color contrast. I'll try to get you a good better angle. So the maximum capacity is 14,730 pounds at approximately 14 feet 9 inches, 5,530 pounds, 20 feet 0 inches, 4,000 pounds, 26 foot 7 inches, 3,000 pounds. Now, we did have some troubles unloading this with old Johnny number 5. This thing is a little bit heavier than our forklift capacity, and this is your gas tank. It was mounted on a little platform here, and to get the load further on the forks, we had to get the forklift up in here. So we made a little modification there to the gas tank platform. We'll have to clean that up, fold it back down, and put the gas tank back on if we want to use it. Has a Kohler, I believe this is a 23 horse power V-twin engine. Check it out, guys. These are what they refer to as hose trays. And these disconnected lines here are for the extra functions. The one being the rotator that would go on the end, and then the grip. So if you're not familiar with knuckle boom cranes, this arm here basically unfolds. So you have your main boom that tilts up. Once that tilts up, this arm here will rotate out like this. It'll be roughly a straight line if you want it to be. And then these black sections here, right there, that are hanging out the end, up here, these two sections here will telescope out. I'm still trying to decide if I want to put a seat on here. We're gonna have to see how this whole thing fits in the back of the truck. We obviously need to have room back here in this area for any trailer that we will put on the fifth wheel plate to pivot, so we won't hit the motor or we won't hit the control valve box. I am just super excited about this. I mean, I want to turn this thing on now. Let's fire it up. Let's see what happens. Yeah, we can't do that. We have to have it obviously secured to the truck. And if you've been following the story of old Margret, you know old Margret needs a whole lot more work. But I will tell you, if you're excited or interested in this project, this has been moved to the front of the line largely because this thing's in my way. On the truck, it will take up a whole lot less space because it's basically the same size as the truck. But in the shop, it is in the shop. And unfortunately, old Johnny number 5 suffered some injuries in unloading this. I'll give you a little picture storyline because it was one heck of a poop show. I mean, you didn't want to be there, and it took sketchy to a whole nother level. But Johnny was able to do it. He did it. And definitely pointed out some areas where we need to do some major work on old Johnny number 5. We might have to repair the mast on that before we get this on the truck, because we can't move this around the shop without the forklift. So yeah, projects everywhere. Old Johnny number 5, he is one heck of a trooper. We had extra counterweight strapped on the back. We had a whole bunch of other sketchy things going on, which I'm not even going to tell you about unless you noticed them from the pictures. And he was shooting oil out of the main mast of the forklift cylinder there because, yeah, it needs rebuilt. So it needed rebuilt ever since we got it, but I cannot find a nameplate to get the right packing seals for it. So we're just going to have to rip that cylinder out of there and look for a part number somewhere on it so we can get this cylinder rebuilt and get them going again. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you're interested in this type of content or seeing how old Margret turns out as we progress further along, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on your way out. Thanks for watching, everyone.